'Twas the Night Before Christmas by Clement Clarke Moore. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down our brains for a long winter's nap.
When out on the roof there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutter, and threw up the sash.
The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer.
With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and he shouted and he called them by name.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all.
As the dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too.
And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound.
He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he'd flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and his beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly.
He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings. Then he turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose.
He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight,
Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. A brief note about the author of the poem. Clement Clarke Moore's famous poem, which he named A Visit from St. Nicholas, was published for the first time on December 23, 1823, by a New York newspaper, the Centennial. Since then, the poem has been reprinted, translated into innumerable languages, and circulated throughout the world. Clement Clarke Moore was born in 1779 to a well-known New York family. His father, Reverend Benjamin Moore, was the president of what is now Columbia University, and he was an Episcopal bishop in New York. Moore's father also participated in George Washington's first inauguration and gave last rites to Alexander Hamilton after Hamilton was mortally wounded in an 1804 duel with Aaron Burr. Moore himself was an author, a noted Hebrew scholar, spoke 5 languages, and was an early real estate owner and developer in Manhattan. Despite his accomplishments, Clement Clarke Moore was remembered for only 'Twas the night before Christmas, which legend says he wrote on Christmas Eve in 1822 during a sleigh ride home from Greenwich Village after buying a turkey for his family. Some say the inspiration for Moore's potbelly St. Nicholas was the chubby, bee-whiskered Dutchman who drove Moore to Greenwich Village to buy his holiday turkey. Moore never copyrighted this poem and only claimed as his own over a decade after it was first made public. Moore read the poem to his family and 6 children the night he wrote it, and supposedly thought no more about it. But a family friend heard about it and submitted the poem to the Centennial, a newspaper in upstate New York, which published it anonymously the following Christmas. Moore's poem immediately caught the attention of the imagination of the state, the nation, and then the world. Finally, in 1844, he included it in a book of his poetry. Moore died in 1863 and was buried in the Trinity Cemetery in Washington Heights, New York. Because of his mere trifle, as he called it, 175 years ago, Clement Clarke Moore almost single-handedly defined our now timeless image of Santa Claus.